Hi everybody, thanks for watching this week's Bible study, and with me I have a special guest. I have my son Cristian.
Hey, nice seeing you guys again.
Who hasn't been on my videos for quite a while, but he's now living back at home. So I'm really glad that he's sharing with me Bible study today.
This wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, and he has his King James Bible that he keeps in the RV, and I'm going to read it.
Study Bible, in fact.
Yeah, I'm going to study it from also my King James, but I have my tablet because I've already put all my notes on here. So stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun today.
Okay, today's verse is Mark 5.
Okay, so last week, just so you know, just to remind everybody that last week we were in Mark 4, and when I say Yahushua, that is what you guys call Jesus, but I call him by his actual Hebrew name, which is translated from Yah, our Father God, and the Shua at the end is for God's salvation, and that's why I choose to say the Hebrew name of Jesus, because he was a Hebrew. He wasn't Greek, and his name is Yahushua. So we learned last week that he liked to teach us through the many parables that he used, because that way we wouldn't put our perspective into it. So let's go to verse number 1. Verse number 1 of this week of Mark 5 is, and they came over unto the other. Oh, there's a nasty little fly here.
And they came over unto the other side of the sea, in the country of the gardeners.
Yeah. Number 2, there's some words are really tricky in the Bible, though.
Yeah, especially for different King James versions.
Yeah, they're very tricky. Number 2, and when he was gone out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. So what's happening here, we left last week where Yahushua was teaching all of the people. There were thousands and thousands of people because he was so popular. He was teaching them from a boat, and everybody was on land. And then they decided to go off on the boat to be quiet, to be alone, because they wanted to get away from so many thousands of people. So now they're in this place called the Gadarenes. And remember, we talked about the storm that came through there. But now when he's out of the ship, this man who is this really dangerous, he's like an evil spirit. This man has a demon inside of him. You're gonna see what happens now.
A possessed delinquent.
Yeah, he is pretty much like that. So this man, remember, Yahushua didn't come up to the man. This man came up to him. Yeah. So in the Geneva Bible, if you read this portion of Mark 5, it claims that the spirit held onto this man tightly as if he were bound. So it kind of wrapped itself and wouldn't leave this man alone. It wouldn't free this man. So that's what Yahushua is going to be trying to do here, is to free this man from this bondage. Right. Verse number 3, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains. You want to read number 4, Cristian?
Because that he had been offended, often bound with the fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder, my bad, by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. Number 5, and always night and day he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. Now I want to stop here for a second, because I want you to understand this. When I read this chapter, it reminded me of a lot of people and a lot of mental health that's going on in society today. When it said this is a man who was trapped with a demon inside him, was making him do things. He was probably that he didn't want to do.
Right. There were voices coming to him that were telling him what to do. Now in this part, remember, it was his night and day, and this man was cutting himself with stones. We have a lot of children, we have a lot of people in society who start to hear voices, and they're
just breaking out with needing help, and they're not getting the help.
Yeah, and they cut themselves and all of this stuff. So I want you to relate to this kind of a demon that is in a lot of people. And when I walk around the street a lot today, I see a lot of people with demons.
Right, you see it in their face.
Yeah, you see it in their eyes. Their eyes, remember, the eyes are the window to the soul. So this chapter is really important, because we have to understand that we
have that nowadays.
Yeah, we are Christians, but we also have to understand that there are people out there who do have demonic spirits within them. So these evil spirits can use the human body to distort and destroy people's relationships with God. That was the whole idea of these spirits, to get inside. And they don't want us to be like God. They want us to oppose God in every way. They are dangerous, powerful, and destructive. This is why we need to avoid all
any kind of conduct.
No, we have to, that too, but we have to avoid all curiosity of involving ourselves with demonic forces or the occult. And if you want to know more about that, it's back in Deuteronomy in verse 18, verses 10 to 12. It tells us, God said it to Moses, put it in the book, to resist the devil and his influences, and that's how he's going to flee from us. Go ahead and read number 6 for us.
But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him.
Right. Number 7. So remember, when he saw Jesus from afar away, he ran and worshiped. He came up to him. But listen to this. 7. And cried with a loud voice. This is the evil man, right? And said, What have I to do with thee, Yahushua, thou son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. So listen to this. This guy called Yahushua the Son of God. So he knew that this is the Son of God. But the demon was not talking to, the man was not the one that was actually talking. It was the demon inside the man that was using the body of the man to talk to Yahushua. So demons use people as their weapons, and they inhabit them to attack God. That's the whole reason that the demonic spirits come inside of us. They want to wreck the image of God inside of us. That's what the whole evil thing is about.
They want to take your light.
Right. They want to take our light, our shine.
Right. It's just like acknowledging how creative you can be. Schools take that away.
Yeah.
Just like how these individuals, delinquents, are demonizing everything.
Yeah, exactly. So Yahushua's work on this cross is what disarms the Christians of demonic spirits. And these demonic spirits can also deceive by intimidating Christians towards fear and unbelief. So they want to intimidate us Christians with their demonic spirits so that we can fear them. But remember that when you are under the blood of Christ, you don't have to worry about demonic spirits because you have the power to overcome them. We're going to see that coming up now. So he tried to resist his power. This demon tried to call Yahushua the Son of God because he tried to make him seem like he was powerless. Oh, you're just like the Son of God. You are below God. You're not God. Remember, Yahushua, Jesus, is not just a man, but he's also God. He's the two. Remember? His deity. So this guy tried to put him down and say, oh, you're just the Son of God. You're below God. You don't have the power. Right. Right. Because he wanted mastery over him. Even though this demon knew exactly who he was. He screamed because he didn't want Yahushua interfering with him. And it was like a shriek of fear. He was scared of Yahushua because he knew that what was going to happen to him. He was in rebellion of God. And just so you know, our society right now is
very relatable to that one.
Yeah, to this story, because our society is demonic. It's kind of screaming at God. There's a lot of things in our society that are against God and in the church and against the values of the church, and they don't want us interfering in the worldly ways. So when you reject Yahushua and his authority, you're putting yourself on the side of the demons, and you are actually at the mercy of their direction. So the demons of Yahushua, they demonstrated that you should surrender to Yahushua, and you should pray to him and not surrender to the demons. Go ahead and read number 8, Christian.
Well, I was just going to say something about verse 7.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I have a different King James book. So when it said, when she mentioned about cried and also in a loud voice.
Yeah.
Mine says wailed.
Yeah, that's the way they used to talk.
Mine says wailed.
Yeah, that's what the translated version of wailed is. It's like a cry.
You guys might be receiving and reading it differently than even all of us are, but it's the same King James. I'm just letting you guys know.
Some people are not following us with the King James. Some people like to follow us with the NIV.
Different Bibles have different perspective.
Yeah. Go ahead, read number 8.
For he said unto him, come out of the man, though unclean spirit.
Verse number 9, and then I have some notes there. Verse number 9, and he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. So now Yahushua is asking this guy who has a demon inside, what is your name? And the guy says, my name is Legion. So what does this mean? The evil spirit's name was Legion because back in that day, the word legion was part of the Roman army. And when you had a legion in the army, that meant you had 3,000 to 6,000 soldiers in the military. But this is why this is why the demon was trying to scare Yahushua by saying, my name is Legion, because I have thousands of demons inside of me. He was trying to scare him. So he was trying to intimidate Yahushua with this large number of demons that was inside of him. And those people that were there, because there were people there watching all of this. It wasn't just two of them. There were lots of people there watching this. They were probably scared, and they probably thought when this guy said that he had thousands of demons inside of him, they were probably pretty scared. They didn't think that Yahushua was going to have the power to control this guy.
What he meant also by legion is that he has the capability of having the consumption of this individual.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So knowing that he has the consumption is that how powerful he could really have this person do without him really wanting to do it.
Yeah. Go ahead, read number 10, and then I'm going to do the notes on that one.
And he besought him much that he would not send them away out in the country.
Okay, so in the book of Mark, the author who writes, he often highlights the supernatural struggle that Yahushua had with Satan, because the demon's goal is to control the humans, and Yahushua wanted to give people freedom from sin and from Satan's control. And the demons had no power over Yahushua. So they begged not to be sent to the bottomless pit. And that's where they were going to go. That's where everybody who's demonic in spirit or in evil, they're going to end up in the bottomless pit. Yahushua let the demons destroy the pigs. We're going to read that coming up, to demonstrate that he has superior authority over them. And these demons didn't want to be out in the abyss. They didn't want to be inactive. The demons have to be moving.
They didn't want to be controlled. And
the demons
that they're weakened.
The demons don't like to be still. They're always, so if you see people out there that are constantly moving, doing, talking, this, that, they never sit still, most likely they have demons. I can't say all the time, because the demons do not like to sit still. There's no peace inside of them.
There could be also a process of demonizing.
Yeah, that's what they have inside of them. Yeah. So
even when you guys don't know it, just a simple thought.
Yeah, so they had to ask Yahushua to put them in the pigs. Notice that they couldn't get into the pigs on their own. They had to ask Yahushua, Jesus, the one you consider Jesus. They had to ask him to put them. If you're going to send us out, at least send us into the pigs. You cannot put demons inside animals, okay? So the only way is they had to have the authority, and they knew that Yahushua had the authority. They needed to get permission to go inside the animals. And in Colossians 2:15, Yahushua disarms demons in their attacks on believers. So Yahushua just wanted them to see the nature of the demon. He wanted the people around him. This is why this is
to be learned.
Yeah, he's showing a lesson to everybody. He wanted to see everybody to see the nature of this demon and how it wants to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's why the pigs were so violent. We're going to see that coming up now. Christian's going to read number 11.
Now there was there night unto the mountains, and their herds of swine feeding.
Okay, so according to the Old Testament law in Leviticus 11 through 7, I think it is, or 11:7, I have my numbers a little bit waxed here, but no matter. Pigs were considered unclean animals, and that means you couldn't eat them or you couldn't touch them, especially if you were a Jew. It was prohibited for you to do anything with pigs in the Old Testament. So go ahead and read number 12.
All of the devils besought him, saying, Send us unto the swine, and that we may have entered unto them.
Verse number 13. And forthwith Yahushua gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000 and were choked in the sea. So Yahushua sent the demons out of the man, put them in the pigs, and now the pigs were so violent and they were so evil and angry, they ended up in the
suicide.
Yeah, it was like their own suicide.
Well, no, they did actually that as a benefit because they don't want to have that no longer in the whole citizen.
Yeah.
You know, so knowing that the pigs committed suicide, the demons and whoever like a possession of that spirituality,
yeah,
they really did Jesus more of a better offer, of a benefit.
But there's not much that pigs can do.
Well, it's not that way because like you can have them into pigs. What if the pigs' spirit had that coming out of them? They could have gone back into the humanity.
Right.
What was going on was what really benefited them.
Yeah.
Because they committed suicide.
Well, let's keep reading here. Number 14. You want to read number 14 or want me to read it?
We could read it together. How about that?
No, you go ahead and read it.
And
14.
And they fed, and swine fled and told it in the city and in the country. They went out and see what it was that was done. 15.
And they come to Yahushua and see him that was possessed with the devil and had the legion sitting and clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. 16. And they saw. Oh, you want to read 16? Go ahead, read 16, because then I have my notes.
And they that they saw it told them how it befell to him, and that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning with the swine.
All right, I'll read 17. And they began to pray him to depart out of their coast. So even though Yahushua did this miracle in front of the people, and people witnesses, thousands of people witnesses, they were afraid of his power. The people that saw this happening, they should be like glad, happy that this happened.
They were just at awe.
Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. Yeah,
they were flabbergasted.
Well, yeah, they were surprised. Problem is there were 2,000 pigs, so their livelihood was gone. They were more concerned about the money they were losing because the pigs committed suicide. So now they didn't have any way to make money because they were going to sell, or the pigs were going to be sold or whatever. So now they don't have they were more concerned about that than they were about the happiness that this guy did not have the demon inside of him. And they didn't have to worry about the danger of this man. Remember, this man was a dangerous man when he had the demons. So they had lost their source of income and their security. And they were fearing Yahushua because they couldn't accept the fact that they lost their money. They lost the value of the pigs.
They lost their agriculture revenue.
Yeah, so exactly. So this
Which was back then, it was all about trading.
Yeah.
You know? It was not all about money.
That was all their money, right?
Yeah.
So this shows that some people are more afraid of what Yahushua, Jesus, what he could do in their life than what Satan does in a certain moment. And this is why some people push Yahushua away, because they're like, I don't want to follow him if I have to change my life, if I have to do this. You know what I'm saying? But they're more concentrated on what they have to do than what's going to be wonderful in their future. All right, you read number 18.
And when he was coming into the ship, he had been possessed, and the devil prayed him that he might be with him.
19. Howbeit Yahushua suffered him not, but saith unto him, Go home to thy friends, and tell them how great things the Lord had done for thee, and hath had compassion on thee. So this is a little different, because most of the times Yahushua didn't want the people to know about the miracles that he was doing. He wanted people to keep quiet. But in this instance, that's not the case. He wanted this man to spread the word about what had happened. Why? Because this man couldn't talk. He could only make noises. So when people would see him now, they would see, number one, he could talk because he was not demon possessed anymore. And now he could actually tell the story of what happened to him. So people were definitely going to believe him because he is the witness of what happened, right?
He is the actual victim.
Yeah, he was the victim. So he could go.
He has his own story of really saying what was going on.
And people would believe him because they knew what he was before. Also, in this area there was mostly Gentile and pagan type of people, and there weren't going to be a lot of big crowds in this area, so they weren't going to be attacked by religious leaders with the story. Oh, there's a plane going overhead. So it was.
We're gonna have to stop until it.
I know we're gonna have to stop, or helicopter or something.
It's like right here, right now.
I think so. Okay, so this man had a change of heart. Now, this demon who was going against Yahushua, now he's not. He's free. He doesn't have this demon anymore. He is totally has a change of heart and a desire to be with Yahushua. Read number 20, Christian.
And that he departed and began to publish in the Decapolis how great things Yeshua had done for him, and all his men did marvel.
Okay, so I just want to let you know that Decapolis is also a place that is called the 10 Towns. And these are 10 cities with its own independent government southeast of the Sea of Galilee. And they were formed in order to have an alliance for protection and to increase trade opportunity, these 10 towns. So the man with the demon, he had wanted to go with Yahushua, but Yahushua said no. He had to stay and share his story, and his enthusiasm was going to be able to spread the good news of Yahushua and what Yahushua could do for the people. And whenever people asked him, he was supposed to tell them that Yahushua was going to cure their sin, and with his enthusiasm, he was going to get people to follow Yahushua. So this man also could have feared that the demon was going to return. And Yahushua, but by telling him to go ahead and spread the news, was a confirmation to this man that he had nothing to worry about, that he was healed and that he was not going to receive the demons ever again. Yeah. He was not going to get sick again. So that's a good thing. Verse 21, you want to read that, Christian?
I'm good.
You want me to read? Okay.
Yeah.
And when Yahushua was passed over again by ship unto the other side, much people gathered unto him, and he was nigh unto the sea. 22, and behold, there cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet. So Yahushua was the elected leader of the local synagogue, and he was responsible for supervising worship and running the weekly school. People don't understand that Jesus was a powerful man. He wasn't some like lazy hippie on the street like some people tell you. That he was professional. He knew the law. He was a teacher. He taught at the synagogue. You had to have high respect to teach at the synagogue, and that's what he was doing here. Now this man Jairus, what he would do, he would care for the building, and he was one of the leaders who also had ties to the Pharisees, who the other type of religious leaders who were opposed to Yahushua's teaching. And he did not allow the pressure that they put on him not to follow Yahushua. And Jairus used to bow before Yahushua because he had significant respect and he worshiped Yahushua because that's how powerful he understood the miracles were that he was doing. Verse 23. You want to read it? You don't want to read anymore? You want me to read? I'll read. Okay, 23. And he besought him greatly, saying, My little daughter lieth at the point of death. I pray thee, come and lay thy hands on her, that she may be healed, and she shall live. 24. And Yahushua went with him, and much people followed him and thronged him. 25. And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years. 26. And had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse. 27. When she had heard of Yahushua, came in the press behind, and touched his garment. 28. For she said, If I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. 29. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the plague. 30. And Yahushua immediately, knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned him about in the press and said, Who touched my clothes? And his disciples said unto him, Thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and saying, Thou who touched thee. So try to understand, there's so many people. He is such a powerful person, Yahushua. So many people want to see him, touch him. They want him to be healed. And they were bumping into him. But notice that just because you bumped into him, you bumped into him because the crowds were pushing you, you didn't get healed. Okay, you had to have faith to get healed. This woman had a problem, a menstrual problem. So in that day, if you were bleeding from menstrual system, you couldn't be around people. You were considered an outcast. You had to be separated from everybody. So she was alone all the time. And she was considered an unclean woman. And she was desperate because she wanted to return to her family. She probably wanted to return to her husband, and she was not allowed because the law said that if you were menstruating, you had to be separated and you were considered unclean. So at that time, the Jews, like Yahushua, he was a Jew, they would wear like these shawls. And the shawls would have tassels hanging underneath. And that's how you knew that these people were Jews, the people who had the tassels. So what she did was she touched the tassel of his garment, and that's what she clung on to. And her faith, that faith of action, her move, because she believed in him. She didn't just bump into him. She didn't just touch him. She touched him because she believed in his power that she was going to be healed. And that's what healed her. Her faith is what healed her. So 32, and he looked round about to see her that had done this thing. 33. So he felt, she touched his clothes, she didn't touch him. He felt the power of her healing. 33. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing that what was done in her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. So she realized that this kind of zapped his power because she was so motivated in her faith. And he turned around and she was afraid he was going to be angry. So she fell on the floor. She was so afraid that she had done something wrong because she wasn't supposed to touch him. She's not supposed to touch anybody. She was a bleeding woman with this disease. 34. And he said unto her, daughter, thy faith had made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of the plague. This woman, she had this disorder, and it was ritually unclean. And now she was totally healed. And she didn't have to worry about what she did. He wasn't mad at her. So she must have been really elated about this. But this is the first time ever in the whole Bible. We could read about all the things that Yahushua did for people. This is the first time in the Bible we ever heard
that he actually committed wanting to heal the community.
Well, no, this is the first time we know that it zapped his power. This is the first time we know that it zapped his power.
Right, unplanned.
Yeah, because he didn't know. This was this woman from behind that touched him, but it did something to his power. He felt it. It was like a bolt of energy or something, this healing that she had, this faith. And this is the first time and only time in the Bible that we know about the zapping of energy that he felt. 35. While he yet spake, there came from the ruler of the synagogue's house certain which said, thy daughter is dead. Why troublest thou the master any further? So remember, Yahushua came for the little girl who had died, who was the daughter of Jairus. And then all the people came to see what was happening. They wanted to be healed. This woman got healed. But now he was coming for the little daughter who was dead. 36. As soon as Yahushua heard the word that was spoken, he saith unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid, only believe. So Jairus, the father of the little girl, felt confused and he was afraid. But with Yahushua, there is always hope and promise. 37. And he suffered no man to follow him, save Peter and James and John, the brother of James, his disciples here. 38. And he cometh to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and seen the tumult, and them that wept and wailed greatly. So there's people crying because this little girl had died. There's a lot of crying in the house. 39. And when he was coming to, he saith unto them, why make ye this ado and weep? The damsel is not dead, but sleep. So Yahushua telling him, why are you crying? Why are you making such a big deal out of this? The girl is asleep. So the crowd laughed when Yahushua said the girl was asleep, because they knew that the child was dead. But he was using that condition specifically to show them that it was temporary and that she was going to be restored. And all he was doing was teaching a lesson about maintaining hope and trust in him. He's teaching the people through these miracles and all of these things that are being witnessed here. Verse 40. And they laughed him to scorn. But when he had put them all out, he taketh the father and the mother of the damsel and them that were with him, and entereth in where the damsel was lying. 41. And he took the damsel by the hand and said unto her, Talitha cumi, which is, being interpreted, damsel, I say unto thee, arise. 42, and straightway the damsel arose and walked, for she was of the age of 12 years. And they were astonished with a great astonishment. So Yahushua showed lots of compassion. But remember, the rabbis of that time didn't have this kind of power. So they wouldn't even consider coming to something like this. The regular rabbis of that time, the priests, they didn't like people were unclean. They didn't want to be around people who were demon possessed. And they wouldn't have probably come to the family of this dead girl to try to do anything to help her. This is the kind of religious people that we had in the day. And that's why Yahushua came to take away those people who were doing those things to the people. 43, and he changed them straightly, that no man should know it, and commanded that something should be given her to eat. So now he tells her parents not to spread the news, because he wanted the facts to speak for themselves, and he didn't want people just to follow him for the miracles. And that was the problem. A lot of people were just following him because they wanted the miracles, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted people to believe in him more than the miracles. So we're gonna finish.
You must know Jesus and God from your own experiences.
Yeah, and
keep it to yourself.
Yeah, so this Bible study that we're doing, I just want to say, is the 28 days. We're doing it in 28 weeks to know him Bible study. And we're going to be jumping around the Bible, but we're marked now for the next couple of weeks. So next week, we're going to be in Mark 6, where Yahushua couldn't heal because of unbelief. So it's going to be the opposite. There's going to be a part there where it tells us that he couldn't heal people next week. And we're going to find out why specifically he couldn't heal those people.
But all we know is at Nazareth.
What?
It's at Nazareth.
I don't remember if it's at Nazareth, but we'll find out next week. It's the number 6. So thank you so much for watching. It's been wonderful having Cristian here doing Bible study. Thank you for being here.
It's really good to be back and doing this with
it's
you
great.
again.
Did you like the story today?
Yeah.
It taught you a lot about
Jesus. It's very relatable. I went away my whole time experience. It was very relatable because if you see me during her explanation and verse reading, I was reading everything. But when she goes through her explanation, I was really like...
You understand that a lot
I was really understanding because everything had really to like close relatable to me. Like,
well, the Bible is
everything was like strangely relatable to me.
Yeah,
like,
the Bible is very relatable to our time if we really break it down and understand what it's all about.
We all got that power. We all have that certain power,
but
uniquely done differently. But this one, I would have to say, like, it really did touch me because I did touch a lot actually, a few individuals out there.
Yeah.
Throughout the 3 years I was gone.
So maybe God is having you go to ministry and do ministry, huh? Bible studies and ministry? Maybe that's in your future. We'll see.
No, I don't see that right now.
Okay.
But like what I do is I don't plan things like that. I just go and how my heart feels. So
awesome. Okay, so everybody, thank you so much for watching. It's been great having somebody else here sharing Bible study with me, and I hope that you'll subscribe and come back next week. And have a wonderful week. God bless all of you. Down below is my Pinterest if you want to get repentance prayers so that you can accept Yahushua, Jesus, into your heart and learn to follow him, become a born-again believer, and pray and stay with him always in your heart. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Be safe.
Bye. Hey, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.